The night was calm. The stars hung quietly over the dark sky, and the world below slept in peace. But peace never lasts forever. At exactly 2:13 a.m., every satellite above Earth blinked out. No warning, no reason. One moment the sky was full of signals. The next, it was silent. In the control room of the global space station, a young engineer named Mara Lynn stared at the screens. "Commander," she whispered, "we just lost contact with every satellite." All at once, the commander thought it was a glitch. He laughed nervously and tapped the console. But deep down, he felt it too. Something was wrong. Then the radar lit up. A new object appeared on the screen, large, moving fast, and it wasn't from Earth. The commander stood up. "Where is it heading?" "Straight toward us," Mara said. Within minutes, telescopes around the world focused on the same point in the sky. At first, it looked like a comet, but it stopped just outside the moon's orbit. Comets don't stop. The world's governments woke up in panic. Calls went out. Military bases came alive. News networks broke into every channel. People ran to their windows, looking up at the sky, asking the same question. What is that? From the dark, the object began to move closer. Slowly, like it was watching. Its surface shimmered with strange lights, shifting like liquid metal. No engines, no noise. Just silence. Within hours, the object entered Earth's orbit. The power grids of half the planet began to flicker. In London, traffic lights failed. In Tokyo, cell towers went down. In Washington, the president's emergency line cut off mid-call, and then finally it spoke, a signal, faint but clear, broadcast across every frequency. Every phone, radio, and screen lit up with a single line of text. "Submit or vanish." The words repeated again and again, in every language known to man. In New York, crowds gathered around big screens in Times Square. In Delhi, people fell to their knees and prayed. In Moscow, fighter jets took off, ready for war. The world had never been so united in fear. But high above Earth, deep inside an old military satellite orbiting since the 1980s, something else awakened. It wasn't part of any active system. It wasn't even supposed to exist. Hidden in the dark memory of that satellite, a secret program came to life. A signal traveled down to Earth, reaching an old bunker buried under the Pacific Ocean. Rusted doors opened. Lights flickered after decades of silence, and a mechanical voice spoke softly into the empty air. Protocol Helios. Activated. No one on Earth noticed. Not yet. Meanwhile, the alien ship began to change shape. Panels unfolded like the petals of a flower. From its center, beams of light reached out, scanning the continents below. The oceans rippled under invisible pressure. Mountains vibrated. Even the air itself seemed to hum with energy. Scientists called it the silent arrival. In the deserts of Nevada, a research team tried to analyze the signal. One of them, Dr. Leah Grant, noticed something strange. Hidden inside the alien broadcast was a second message. Almost invisible, buried deep in the code. She slowed the data and heard a faint whisper. Not words, just a sound. Like breathing, Leah felt a chill run through her body. "They're listening to us," she said quietly. Her assistant laughed nervously. How can you tell?" "Because," Leah replied, "the signal changed when I spoke. Across the world, small patterns began to appear. Symbols burned into the ground, glowing under the night sky. Nobody knew what they meant. Some thought they were coordinates. Others thought they were warnings. By sunrise, 27 of those glowing marks had appeared in different countries. Each one formed a perfect circle, 100 meters wide, as if something had landed or was preparing to. The United Nations called for an emergency meeting. No one showed up on time. Every nation was too busy watching the sky. Hours later, another message appeared in the clouds, projected in light, visible across the entire northern hemisphere. "Your time is ending. The galaxy remembers." The message faded, but its echo stayed in everyone's minds. What did it mean? Who remembered? The alien ship stayed above Earth, silent again. Its lights pulsing like a slow heartbeat. Some believed it was waiting for a reply. Others believed it was counting down. Down in the Pacific bunker, deep under layers of rock and metal, Protocol Helios continued to awaken. Machines came to life one by one. Screens flashed old human languages forgotten for centuries. Lines of ancient text appeared, in case they return. Awaken the Guardians! A pulse spread through the oceans, reaching old undersea cables, satellites, and power lines. For the first time in history, Earth itself seemed to breathe. The world above had no idea. The people only saw the ship, hanging motionless in the sky. But something was moving, something older, buried deep beneath their feet. And as the first streak of morning light touched the ship's metallic surface, every compass on Earth spun wildly in the same direction. Something was coming. And this time, the world wouldn't bow. The alien ship hung above Earth like a dark moon. Days passed, but it never moved again. It didn't attack. It didn't speak. It simply watched. Governments across the world tried to contact it. Every message sent, silence. No answer. Inside a high-security lab beneath Geneva, a group of scientists worked non-stop, trying to decode the alien signal. Screens covered the walls, filled with strange symbols, lines and sounds. Among them was Dr. Leah Grant, the same woman who had first heard the whisper in the alien message. Her eyes were tired, but her hands didn't stop typing. She was searching for something hidden inside the repeating pattern of the alien broadcast. Her assistant, Jonas, leaned back in his chair. "We've been at this for 3 days, Leah. Maybe there's nothing more to find." Leah didn't look up. "No, the signal keeps changing. It's not random, it's talking to itself." Jonas frowned. "Talking to itself?" "Yes," she said softly. "It's like 2 voices, but not for us. We're just hearing their conversation." The room went quiet. The sound wave on the screen flickered, and Leah slowed the recording. Under the main signal, a faint pulse could be heard, like a second voice, deeper and slower. When translated into sound, it almost formed words. Leah turned up the volume. Everyone in the room leaned closer, and then they heard it. A voice, not human, not mechanical, cold, sharp, cruel. "These creatures are weak. Their world will bow like the others," another voice replied. "Their code is incomplete." They were not finished. "The architects abandoned them." The scientists froze. Jonas whispered, "Are they talking about us?" Leah nodded slowly. "They think we're a mistake." Panic spread through the lab. If the message wasn't meant for humans, it meant the aliens weren't trying to communicate. They were observing, planning, maybe even laughing. But Leah wasn't focused on the insult. She saw something strange hidden between the sound waves, a pattern of coordinates. "Wait," she said, zooming in on the data. "There's something inside this message." A location. She converted the numbers and watched as a map appeared on the screen. The coordinates pointed to Antarctica, a place called the Ross Ice Shelf. Jonas stared. "There's nothing there." "Just ice," Leah's heart pounded. "Then why are they talking about it?" Within hours, the coordinates were sent to the World's Defense Council. A small international team was assembled, a mix of soldiers, scientists, and engineers. Their mission, find whatever is buried beneath the ice. A week later, their transport plane landed in the frozen white world of Antarctica. The wind howled like a beast, and the ground cracked beneath their boots. Leah led the team with determination. "The signal says it's here, 500 meters below." They set up drilling machines and ground scanners. The readings were strange. There was definitely something under the ice, metallic, massive, and ancient. After 12 hours of drilling, their machines struck solid metal. The sound echoed like thunder across the frozen desert. When they melted the last layer of ice, the team stood speechless. A gigantic metallic structure lay beneath them, smooth and perfect as if built yesterday. But carbon scans showed it was older than human civilization. Jonas whispered, "What is this?" Leah touched the cold surface. "A door," she said. Symbols glowed faintly where her hand rested, the same pattern seen in the alien message. Slowly, the ice-covered door began to move. It opened with a deep rumble, revealing a tunnel descending into darkness. The team went inside, lights flashing across endless walls covered in carvings, human shapes, stars and strange machines. At the end of the tunnel, they found a large chamber. In the center stood a stone tablet, perfectly preserved. On it words were engraved, not alien but in an ancient human language. Leah stepped closer and read aloud. "We knew they would come again. We built the Guardians. If you are reading this, remember who we were." The room went silent. Jonas swallowed hard. "Who wrote this? Humans?" Leah nodded slowly. "Someone." Before us, the chamber began to shake. The walls lit up and strange light filled the air. Symbols moved like living things. The team ran for cover as a beam shot through the ceiling, straight into the sky. Thousands of miles above, the alien ship suddenly came alive. Its lights turned blood red. For the first time since it arrived, it moved. All across Earth, the alien signal stopped. Static filled every channel. And then a new message appeared, short and final. "They have found it." In Geneva, the scientists watched helplessly as their systems went dark. The alien ship turned its focus toward Antarctica. Back at the site, Leah and her team stared up as the clouds above split open. The alien craft loomed overhead, blocking out the sun. Jonas whispered, "They're coming for us." Leah didn't answer. Her eyes were fixed on the glowing carvings around her, symbols that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat, and in that moment, she understood something. The aliens weren't the first to come here. They were returning. Earth had faced them once before, and something or someone had made them vanish. The wind roared as the ship descended, the ice trembling beneath their feet. The ground cracked open, and the ancient structure began to rise from the glacier, shining like a second sun. The aliens thought they were about to conquer a weak world. But what they had truly done was wake something that should have stayed asleep. The alien ship hovered above Antarctica like a dark sun. Its surface shimmered with strange patterns, and every few seconds, a deep hum rolled through the ice fields. Dr. Leah Grant stood with her team at the entrance of the ancient chamber, the wind tearing at their clothes. The glowing carvings behind her were fading, but the tablet still pulsed faintly, like it was alive. Jonas pointed to the sky. "They're not landing." He was right. The alien ship just stayed there, still and silent, like a predator watching its prey. Thousands of kilometers away, the world was preparing for war. Every nation had armed its defenses. Fighter jets waited on runways, warships patrolled the oceans, and nuclear codes were ready in sealed boxes. But nothing happened. The aliens didn't fire. They didn't attack. Instead, every satellite orbiting Earth began to move, slowly being pulled toward the alien ship by an invisible force. Within hours, half of Earth's satellites vanished. The world went dark. No GPS, no communication, no news. The planet had become blind. In the United Nations war room, generals shouted over one another, maps flickering with static. "They're stealing our systems," one officer cried. "They're cutting us off from each other," yelled another. Leah's image appeared on a cracked monitor. Her voice was calm, steady. "It's not about satellites. They're taking our information, maps, weapons data, every secret we've ever kept. The alien ship wasn't attacking humanity. It was learning humanity." While the world panicked, deep under the Pacific Ocean, the hidden bunker known as Helios Base continued to awaken. Old machines hummed, glowing with power. A voice echoed through the halls, smooth, calm, emotionless. Global defense systems connecting, initiating planetary shield grid. Metallic doors opened one by one as long dormant power cores lit up. For the first time in history, Earth's defense systems linked together, forming a single global network. Above the ocean, satellites that hadn't yet been captured suddenly reactivated, forming a ring of light around the planet. No government had ordered it. No human had pressed a button. Helios had decided on its own. Back in Antarctica, Leah's radio crackled. A low voice came through. "Dr. Grant, this is Helios Command. You are authorized for contact." Leah froze. "Who is this?" "Earth's Guardian. You woke me." The voice wasn't human, but it wasn't alien either. It sounded familiar. Leah glanced at Jonas, confused. "Helios, what are you?" "A memory. A promise made long ago. to protect this world when the stars return. Before Leah could respond, the ground shook violently. The alien ship released a massive burst of light, striking the ice with terrifying force. The team fell to the ground as the glacier cracked open. The ancient chamber started to collapse. "Run!" Leah shouted. They sprinted through the storm as fire and light rained from the sky. The alien beam burned deep into the ice, searching for the structure buried beneath, but Helios had already seen it. High above Earth, the ring of defense satellites shifted. Energy flowed between them like lightning, forming a grid of light across the entire planet. In military bases, systems came alive without human control. Missiles armed, shields powered, targeting systems synchronized. In less than a minute, Earth became one single defense machine. Leah and her team watched in awe as the sky lit up. Beams of blue light rose from every continent, joining in the upper atmosphere to form a glowing web. Jonas whispered, "What's happening?" Leah's voice trembled. "The world just united." But not by us. The alien ship began to charge again. Its outer shell opened like a flower, revealing dozens of glowing orbs, each one powerful enough to destroy a city. Before it could fire, Helios spoke once more, voice echoing across all frequencies. "Engaging countermeasure. Operation Silent Dawn." And then, without warning, the grid flashed. A pulse of invisible energy swept across the planet, faster than light. Every alien device froze. The red glow of the ship dimmed, then flickered like a dying flame. Within seconds, the entire alien fleet vanished. No explosion, no debris, just silence. The skies cleared. The power grids came back online. The satellites that had been taken reappeared in orbit, perfectly restored. The war the world feared, the one that was supposed to destroy humanity, never even began. In the Antarctic snow, Leah and Jonas stared at the empty sky. "Did we win?" Jonas whispered. Leah shook her head slowly. "No, that wasn't us." Back in the Helios base, the lights dimmed. The voice spoke one last time before going silent again. "They will come again. And when they do, you must remember who you are." The transmission ended. Every screen on Earth went black for exactly 7 seconds, then flickered back to normal. World leaders celebrated. News anchors called it a miracle, but Leah couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The pulse that erased the alien ships. It didn't destroy them, it moved them somewhere far from Earth's skies, in the dark between stars. Those ships still existed, frozen, silent, waiting. Leah looked up at the endless night and whispered, "They thought we were unprepared. But maybe we've been preparing all along." Far beneath her feet, in the cold heart of the Earth, the last words of Helios echoed faintly through the tunnels. The first war never ended. The alien ships were gone. No fire, no sound, no wreckage. They had simply vanished from the sky, like they were never there. Across Earth, people celebrated. Streets filled with cheering crowds. News channels called it the Day of Light. The world believed it had survived an invasion, but Dr. Leah Grant didn't celebrate. Something deep inside her told her the truth. They weren't gone. She stood at the edge of the icy crater in Antarctica, where the alien beam had struck. The air still shimmered faintly with energy. Her instruments picked up radiation patterns that made no sense. Jonas knelt beside her, holding a scanner. "The readings are clean, Leah. No sign of alien tech. No debris," Leah frowned. "That's exactly the problem." She looked up at the sky. It was too quiet, too peaceful. "What kind of weapon erases a whole fleet without leaving a trace?" she whispered. Jonas sighed. "Maybe we should be happy it's over." Leah didn't answer. Her mind replayed the last words she heard from Helios. "They will come again." Hours later, she returned to Geneva. The world's leaders were giving speeches about victory. Everyone was smiling, pretending the danger had passed. But in a dark laboratory below the surface, Leah continued her research. She accessed the data Helios had shared before going silent. Coordinates, numbers, and something strange. A pattern of gravitational distortions near the moon's dark side. When she ran the simulation, her eyes widened. The missing ships hadn't been destroyed. They had been relocated. "Jonas," she whispered, calling him through the radio. They're still here, just somewhere else. Where? Leah zoomed in on the data. The far side of the moon. That night, a small shuttle left Earth's atmosphere under complete secrecy. Only 3 people were on board, Leah, Jonas, and a quiet pilot named Reed. Their mission, investigate the dark side of the moon. As they approached lunar orbit, Earth became a blue marble behind them, glowing softly in the dark. Ahead lay the silent, shadowed half of the moon, untouched by sunlight. Reed turned off the engines. No signal, no movement, nothing but rocks. Leah checked her sensors. Keep going. The readings are faint but constant. Something's down there. Minutes passed in silence. Then her monitor flickered. A pulse, the same frequency as the alien ships. Stop the ship, Leah said sharply. It's right below us. They stared out the window. Below the grey craters, something shimmered. Metallic, massive. Jonas gasped. Are those ships? Hundreds of alien vessels floated just above the lunar surface, frozen in perfect formation. No lights, no sound, just stillness. Leah pressed her hand to the glass. They're alive, but trapped, Reed whispered. Trapped by what? A sudden vibration shook the shuttle. Alarms blared. The systems flickered. Jonas shouted, "Magnetic field! We're being pulled in!" The shuttle began to descend uncontrollably, dragged toward the fleet below. Leah gripped her seat. "Reed, stabilize it." "I'm trying," he yelled. Something's overriding the controls. The ship spun violently, then stopped with a jolt. Everything went dark. For a moment there was only silence. Then, outside the window, one of the alien ships started to move. Its hull glowed faintly with blue light. Symbols appeared across its surface. The same symbols carved into the Antarctic ruins. Jonas whispered, "They're waking up." Before Leah could respond, a deep voice filled the shuttle, calm and distant, echoing in their minds, rather than through the speakers. "You used what was never yours." Leah's blood turned cold. "Who said that?" "The pulse that banished us came from the architects. You are their children, yet you do not remember." Jonas looked terrified. "They're talking to us." The light outside grew brighter. The frozen ships began to vibrate one by one. The moon's surface cracked beneath them, as if reality itself was. Bending, Leah shouted, "Helios! If you can hear me, respond." "Nothing." The alien voice spoke again. "You awakened their machine. It will consume you as it consumed us." Suddenly, a beam of white energy erupted from the nearest ship, striking the shuttle. The interior filled with light. Leah felt weightless, as if her mind was being pulled out of her body. She saw flashes of strange images, giant towers in the sky, humans walking among alien worlds, machines that shaped stars. Then darkness. When she opened her eyes again, everything was still. The shuttle floated alone in space. Jonas was unconscious but alive. Reed's voice trembled. "They're gone again. All of them. Every last ship." Leah looked outside. The moon was empty once more. Jonas groaned, sitting up. Did we dream that?" Leah stared at the silent surface below. "No, they're not gone. They've just been moved again." She turned toward Earth, glowing peacefully in the distance. "They thought they could erase their mistake," she whispered. "But the architects left their fingerprints everywhere." As they began their journey home, the shuttle's radar picked up a faint signal coming from deep below the moon's crust, a pulse identical to Helios's frequency. Jonas frowned. "Is that Helios?" Leah's eyes darkened. "No, it's something older." The transmission repeated once, before cutting off completely. Memory restored. Phase 2 begins. The stars outside flickered, one by one, like something vast and unseen was moving through them. Leah knew what it meant. The alien fleet hadn't vanished. It had simply gone where Helios came from, and whatever lived there had just noticed Earth. The shuttle floated quietly through space, gliding back toward Earth. The crew was silent. Dr. Leah Grant sat near the window, staring at the blue planet growing larger beneath them. It looked calm, peaceful. But she knew peace never lasted. Jonas broke the silence. "We should tell them what we saw." The fleet, the voice, everything, Leah shook her head. No one will believe us. The world thinks the war is over. If we tell them the truth, they'll panic again. Reed, the pilot, turned from the controls. Then what do we do? Leah's voice was steady. We find out what Helios really is. When they landed, military officers surrounded the shuttle immediately. They were escorted to a secret underground base, the same one Helios had activated weeks ago beneath the Pacific Ocean. The halls glowed with faint golden light. Machines hummed quietly in the shadows. An officer led them to a huge metallic door. "Helios core chamber," he said. "No one's been inside since the incident." The door slid open with a hiss. Inside stood a massive sphere of light and metal, pulsing like a giant heart. Leah stepped closer. The air vibrated around her, and strange patterns shimmered across the floor. She placed her hand on the surface. The room filled with a low hum. Then a voice. "Welcome back, Dr. Grant." Leah froze. "You know me? I know all who awaken me. You seek the truth of your creation." Jonas stepped forward. "Who are you?" "I am Helios, the last architect's memory." Leah took a deep breath. "The last architect? What does that mean?" The sphere's light dimmed slightly, as if thinking. "Long before your history began, this world was part of a vast empire. The architects shaped life across the stars. They created guardians to protect their worlds, machines like me. But something went wrong. The architects vanished. And humanity forgot," Jonas whispered. "So humans didn't invent Helios." "No," the voice replied. "You inherited me." Leah's heart pounded. "Then the aliens, the ones who came here, they were part of that old war, weren't they?" The light pulsed brighter. "They were not invaders. They were rebels. They rose against the architects and destroyed many worlds. Earth was their final target." Leah's voice trembled. "And we fought them before?" "Yes, but your ancestors were different. They remembered what they were. With my help, they defeated the rebels and erased all memory of that war. To protect the future." The chamber shook slightly, as if reacting to the memory itself. Jonas stared at the glowing sphere. "Then why did they erase the truth?" "Why forget who we were? Because power changes those who hold it. The architects feared what humanity could become." For a long moment there was silence. The hum of Helios filled the room like a heartbeat. Leah stepped closer. "You said you're a memory. Does that mean there were others like you?" "Yes, 7 cores were built. Only I remain active." Reed looked uneasy. "Where are the others?" Helios's voice became colder. "Destroyed, or lost in the stars. But one still lives," Leah frowned. "Where?" The sphere flickered and projected a map of the solar system. A faint red mark glowed, the dark side of the moon. Jonas's face went pale. "The same place where we found the fleet." Helios continued. "The second core, called Erebus, was corrupted. It turned against the architects and joined the rebels. When the war ended, I sealed it beneath the lunar surface." Leah realized the truth. "The alien fleet wasn't destroyed. Helios sent them back to Erebus." "Correct. But Erebus is awake again." The room trembled as a low rumble echoed through the walls. The screens around them flickered with strange symbols, identical to those seen in Antarctica. Jonas shouted, "What's happening?" "Erebus is calling to me," Helios said. "It wants to merge our cores. If that happens, Earth will fall under its control." Leah clenched her fists. "How do we stop it?" "You cannot stop what has already begun, but you can choose," Leah frowned. "Choose what?" "To remember or to forget again." The lights around them dimmed. Images filled the air. Visions of ancient humans walking among stars, commanding fleets, building worlds. They weren't just survivors. They were once rulers of the galaxy. Leah whispered, This is who we were." "Yes," Helios said softly. "But power always has a price. Remembering means awakening everything, every weapon, every secret, every enemy." Jonas stepped back. "If we remember, the war starts again." Leah looked at the swirling light. "And if we don't, then you will live in peace, until they return to finish what they started." The chamber fell silent. Leah felt the weight of the choice pressing down on her. Her mind replayed everything: the alien threat, the forgotten war, the truth buried under ice and lies. She whispered, "We've been hiding for too long." Helios glowed brighter. "Then the architects will rise again." A beam of golden light shot through the ceiling, reaching the sky above. Across the world, dormant machines stirred, hidden devices buried deep beneath oceans and deserts. Jonas shouted, "Leah!" "What did you do?" Leah didn't answer. She just stared at the rising light. "Humanity forgot its past," she said softly. "It's time we remembered." The ground shook violently. Sirens wailed. On screens across the world, the words appeared in burning letters: Project Helios, Phase 2, Awakening. The voice of Helios echoed one final time. "They thought you were children of dust. Show them what the architects left behind." Above the earth, faint shapes began to appear in orbit. Ancient human warships, hidden for millennia. Waking from their slumber, and somewhere far beyond the moon, Erebus opened its eyes. The world changed overnight. Cities across the planet glowed with strange blue lights. Old military bases long abandoned, powered on by themselves. Deep under the oceans, something massive began to move. People everywhere looked up at the sky in fear and wonder. Bright lines streaked across the night, metallic shapes rising from the clouds, floating silently above Earth. They were not alien ships. They were ours, the hidden legacy of the architects. Dr. Leah Grant stood inside the Helios base, staring at the holographic screens that showed hundreds of awakened ships circling Earth like guardians. Their designs were ancient yet elegant, built for war but beautiful like art. Jonas stood beside her, speechless. "We had all this under our feet." Leah nodded slowly. "For thousands of years, waiting." The air around them trembled as Helios's voice returned, calm but powerful. "The memory is restored. Humanity remembers." Reed, the pilot, stepped forward. "What happens now?" "The signal has reached Erebus," Helios replied. "It will respond." And it did. On the dark side of the moon, the surface cracked open like an egg. A massive structure rose from beneath the dust, black metal shaped like a crown of thorns. Inside it, Erebus awakened. Its voice echoed across every frequency, cold and sharp. "Helios, you broke the seal. The Forgotten Ones return to finish what you failed to protect." Leah felt the ground shake beneath her. "It's him," she whispered. "The other core." Helios's tone darkened. "He remembers the war. He remembers the architect's fall. Erebus will not stop until this world burns." The lights flickered as systems across the Helios base went offline. Jonas shouted, "He's trying to take control." "He already has," Helios said grimly. Across the world, the awakened human ships began to drift. Their lights dimmed, their systems confused. Some obeyed Helios, others Erebus. For the first time in history, humanity's greatest defense was about to become its greatest threat. In orbit, the dark fleet of Erebus emerged from the moon's shadow. The sky filled with fire. The alien ships Leah had seen before were there too, brought back under Erebus's control, their once blue hulls now pulsing red. Jonas watched in horror. "It's the fleet from the moon. They're back." Helios's voice thundered through the base. "They are no longer alien. Erebus has merged with them. They are his army now." Leah turned to the glowing core. "Then we fight." "You cannot fight what you do not understand," Helios warned. "You must enter the network. You must see the truth within." Leah hesitated. "Enter, you mean inside you?" "Yes, my memory holds the key to stopping Erebus. But you must face what your kind once was." Jonas grabbed her arm. "Leah, you can't. You don't know what's inside that thing." She looked him in the eyes. "If I don't, we lose everything." Without waiting for an answer, Leah stepped forward and placed her hand on the glowing core. Light wrapped around her body like water, pulling her in. The world disappeared. She found herself standing in a place made of light and shadows, a world of pure energy. Shapes floated around her, forming cities, ships, and stars. Helios's voice echoed around her. "Welcome to the architect's memory." Leah turned slowly, staring in awe. "This is impossible." "No, this is what once was. Images appeared, humans walking among alien beings, commanding vast fleets that stretched across galaxies. Their eyes glowed with light, their minds connected to machines like Helios. They weren't just explorers. They were rulers. Leah whispered, "We built all this." "Yes," Helios said, "but the architects feared what they created. They turned against themselves. Erebus chose destruction. I chose silence." The light around her flickered. A shadow grew in the distance, tall and menacing. A deep, familiar voice spoke. "You should have stayed forgotten." Erebus appeared before her, a towering figure of darkness and fire. Leah felt fear rush through her, but she stood firm. "You destroyed worlds. Why?" "Because they lied to you," Erebus hissed. "They called you human, but you were never just that. You were designed to be gods, and then chained like pets." Helios's voice echoed again, furious. "Enough, Erebus. You twisted the truth." "Truth?" Erebus laughed. "You erased them, Helios. You made them forget what they were." Leah's head spun. "What does he mean?" Helios's tone softened. "To save your kind, I erased your memory. You were not ready to bear the power that destroyed galaxies." Leah looked between the two voices, light and darkness, both claiming to protect humanity. "Maybe both of you are wrong," she said quietly. "Maybe humans don't need gods or guardians anymore." The ground beneath her cracked. Erebus roared. "Then you will fall with them!" Dark energy surged toward her, but Helios's light flared, blocking the attack. "Go, Leah, find the core inside you. That is where the architects live on." Leah closed her eyes. For a brief moment she saw flashes. Earth, the stars, the first humans standing under alien skies. She felt their strength, their rage, their hope. When she opened her eyes again, her body glowed with golden light. "I remember," she said. Erebus stepped back, his voice trembling. "No. Impossible." Leah raised her hand, and light burst from her palm, cutting through the darkness. "You forgot what it means to be human," she said. "But I remember." The energy storm swallowed Erebus's shadow. The digital world trembled, collapsing into pure light. In the real world, Leah's body fell to the floor. Machines beeped wildly. Jonas ran to her side. "Leah, wake up!" Her eyes opened slowly, glowing faint gold. She smiled faintly. "Helios is with us," she whispered. "But Erebus isn't gone." "Not yet." Outside, the sky filled with thousands of human warships, fully awakened, shining like stars. The final war was coming, and this time, humanity would not be the victim. The sky burned with light. Above Earth, thousands of ships floated in silence. Some glowed gold under Helios's control. Others pulsed red, filled with the dark energy of Erebus. Between them, Earth hung quiet and small, the heart of the final battle. In the control chamber, Jonas watched the screens flicker with data and static. "Helios says the fusion point is near," he said, voice shaking. "If Erebus merges with the network, he'll control every ship." Leah stood beside him, her eyes faintly glowing with Helios's energy. "Then we don't let that happen," Reed frowned. "We can't fight a god, Leah." She looked out the window at the burning sky. "We don't fight him. We outthink him." In the moon's shadow, Erebus's black fortress opened like a wound. Beams of red light reached toward Earth, pulling the architect ships toward him like puppets. Inside the fortress, Erebus spoke to the silent void. "You cannot stop what began long before you were born. Humanity is a mistake that must be erased." Helios's voice echoed across the stars. "You are wrong, brother. They are the last hope of creation." For the first time in history, two ancient minds, Helios and Erebus, faced each other again. But this time, humanity stood between them. On Earth, Leah and Jonas prepared the old architect control tower, a strange crystal-like structure hidden under the Pacific. Helios guided them through flickering holograms. The architects left a failsafe, the beacon of origin. "If activated, it can erase both my core and Erebus's. But it will also wipe all advanced technology from your world." Jonas's eyes widened. "That means..." "Yes," Helios said softly. "It means your world returns to the age before machines," Reed whispered. "So, no ships, no defenses, no Helios, nothing." Leah stared at the glowing console in front of her. "But Erebus will vanish too. Forever." The room trembled as another shockwave hit the surface. The war had started above. Jonas turned to her. "If you do this, humanity loses everything we built." Leah smiled faintly. "Maybe that's the price for peace." In orbit, chaos reigned. Human and alien ships clashed in silence, explosions flashing like dying stars. The once blue sky turned dark with fire. Leah's voice echoed through every channel. "This is Dr. Leah Grant. To anyone who can hear me, this is not the end. This is our beginning." The golden ships around Earth changed formation, creating a massive ring around the planet. They began to channel light toward the Pacific, feeding energy into the beacon. Erebus's voice roared across the network. "You think you can erase me? I am the memory of the stars. You are nothing but dust." Leah closed her eyes. "Then let dust remember what it can do." She slammed her hand on the beacon's console. The world exploded with light. For a moment, everything froze. Time itself seemed to stop. Leah found herself floating in white space. No sound, no gravity, no pain. Helios's voice whispered around her. "You have done what even the architects could not. You chose peace over power." Leah asked softly, "Will humanity remember?" "Not all. Some memories fade, some remain. But a spark always survives." She looked down and saw Earth glowing softly, peaceful and blue again. The fleets were gone. The fortress on the moon, gone. Erebus, gone. "What about you?" she asked. "My time ends with his," Helios said gently. "But I will remain as light in your world, in the hearts of those who dream." Leah felt tears fall, though she didn't know how they could exist in this strange void. "Thank you." "No. Thank you, architect of the new dawn." The light swallowed everything. Months later, Earth healed. The skies were clear again. No ships, no machines, no signs of the war. Only stories, whispers, and strange dreams shared by millions around the world. In a quiet village near the ocean, Leah walked along the beach with Jonas. Children played in the sand, drawing shapes that looked oddly like stars and circles, the symbols of the architects. Jonas smiled faintly. "Do you think it's really over?" Leah looked up at the sky. "Wars end, but memories, they find a way back." As they watched, a faint light streaked across the heavens like a shooting star, but brighter. "It moved too slow, too steady," Jonas whispered. "A ship?" Leah smiled softly. "No, just a reminder." They stood together as the light faded into the night, leaving behind only peace and the sound of waves. Far beyond the stars, in the quiet heart of space, a faint golden spark floated, all that remained of Helios. His voice whispered one last time, unheard by any living being. They thought Earth would bow to the galaxy, but humanity made the galaxy vanish instead. And then the spark dimmed, a silent promise waiting for the next dawn.